One, go.
Hello, Ignacy check Portal Games.
And this is the Podfather of Gaming, Stephen Bonacore. You are listening to Board Games Insider, episode 190, and we're recording this on April 7th, 2021. Board Games Insider is a proud member of the Dice Tower Network. And Tom Vassell would like to send you, each and every one of our listeners, Board Games Insider, all of you, a thank you for your unwavering support of Board Games Insider podcast, which has raised the quality of podcasts throughout the Dice Tower Network to new heights. So Tom Vassell thanks you all. No, he does not, Ignacy. You think he would, for that matter, thank Ignacy or me, but no. He sits in his ivory tower of the dice, looking down upon us with disdain. That means dislike in English. How you doing?
We will continue to make this amazing work we do for years.
That's right. And that will just prove to him how important we are to him, right? Even if he doesn't acknowledge it.
But if you, our dear listeners, can send email to tom@thedicetower.com saying how much you love our podcast, that would be funny.
That's kind of scary. Should we start that campaign? Oh my God, that would be really funny. I'm not sure. We might get kicked off the Dice Tower Network. That's great. So by the way, this is episode 190, which means we're only 10 away from 200, which means at some point...
You're already celebrating. You are like at the party already.
Yeah. And then people who watch us could see that I'm in my brand new black and red Podfather Hawaiian / Floridian shirt here. Just a new one I just got to it's the Podfather colors, red and black, same as the Stronghold colors, but I look good in red and black. And yes, I'm partying the beautiful weather here in South Florida, and you look like you're in a cave, like completely dark. You've got backlighting instead of front lighting. It's so Slavic.
On every single level, there are differences. This is insane that we even differ on how our look looks.
Do they sell like bright colored clothing in Poland or no?
It's forbidden.
All right, enough of the silliness. Tell us, what is happening at Portal Games? I know that crowdfunding on GameFound is doing amazing.
Dear listeners, you just missed this. As far as I know, we are dropping this podcast on next Wednesday. That is 24 hours after campaign for Robinson Crusoe finished. So sorry if you missed that. For the period for Vienna Connection, I had a contest, and the winner was the first person who will send me email saying that, oh my God, I missed pre-orders. Can I pre-order it? And I said, no, you cannot. You missed this. So, dear listeners, if you missed our Kickstarter, our GameFound campaign, I'm very, very sorry. It's closed. I have no clue how it will end. As for now, it's going amazing. I'm very proud of what we achieved here with my team, with the GameFound support. As I said in the previous episodes, the platform is new. They care for the customer. They need to. So they give us a lot of advices, a lot of support. And it really, really helps. Today, just like an hour ago before the recording, we passed $1.5 million funded. So this is another day of celebration. Of course, we are celebrating the Slavic way. So everybody is tired, exhausted, and working hard and trying to survive for the next few days. But at some point, we will celebrate this huge success. For me, of course, is an amazing time. And once again, as we are hammering the message over and over again, evergreens are important. And if you go to evergreen, even to crowdfunding, you will find enough people who heard about the game, who are interested, who are always on the edge, and now they will make this decision. They will now make this additional step and try this game. And so, yeah, I hope many of our listeners are back to this project. If not, I'm so sorry. And thank you everybody for support. Enough about this old news. It already happened as you are listening to this. The most important part of the podcast, the brag of the week. We finally get some award. Rolling Dice and Taking Them podcast every year gives awards for different categories: best game, best expansion, best reprint, etc., etc. And Portal Games is proud to announce that we got the award for the best expansion of the year. Is expansion called Barbarian Hordes. It's for the game Empires of the North. This expansion was designed by my developer Joanna Kijanka. This is her first award, so kudos for her. And I'm very, very happy that finally I have some good news in my brag of the week section.
That is awesome.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Pre-orders and street dates, Vienna Connection, as for now on the ship. It should be in a port in a few days, so we will see. I don't know how much our listeners check the news about what's happening on the seas. A long story short, there is a chaos and a mess, and oh my God, this is what's happening on the seas these days. A ton of ships waiting to go to the port because of the line. As for now, the ship is very, very close to be in the port. We will see what's happening. But we are aiming at May 27th for Vienna Connection. I will give updates in upcoming weeks what's happening. From the HQ, rumors from the HQ, I want to give a shout out to backers who were part of my GameFound campaign, because we were very vocal. And by we, I mean me, Steven, maybe less, and many industry professionals about the Kickstarter community that sometimes can be very mean. Sometimes they can be a little bit too whining on the different things.
Yeah, you think so? A little bit, maybe, a little, maybe. A lot of it. Go ahead.
I have no explanation, no inside knowledge, but somehow during this campaign for Robinson Crusoe, there was no such a cases. Only positive comments. I don't understand that. I have nothing to, no thesis to support. Maybe the only thing that comes to my mind is that Robinson Crusoe is the game that so many fans like. They are in the comment section and they are like caring for the feedback, like they are supporting the campaign because they love the game already, and they are answering the questions instead of me. Like, I don't know, something very good happened in this comment section, and I was really, really scared before the campaign starts, because it's always very stressful to see negativity in the internet, and you have to answer these comments. These past 2 weeks were very, very calm, very, very nice. So shout out to everybody who was participating in these comment sections. Sometimes during crowdfunding, you can smile when you read the comments, and that happened to me. So thank you for that.
And I will postulate, I will put out there that maybe this had to do with the fact that you're on GameFound, where only some newer backers, like some of the not everybody knows about GameFound, not everybody's looking at GameFound. So maybe you've got a more positive audience there. I'm pulling just thoughts. Of course, it could be exactly what you said too. Yeah. Just that, hey, you've just got a bunch of lovers of the game, and they're just like, whatever you do is going to be wonderful. I mean, I loved the hut. The main piece of plastic there, that hut that you got to build. I think that's like the coolest thing in the world. You got to build that thing. So yeah, no, that's great that we tend to have too much negativity in general in life, but certainly gamers in this crowdfunding environment. So congratulations on that.
Yeah. And the video of the week, it is not yet recorded, but I'm preparing my notes. They are on the whiteboard behind me. I'm preparing for this recording, and I will do a short video how to balance games, how the balancing process of board games is done. I will record this video. It will be live streamed on Monday, as always, Monday 9 a.m. Eastern time. So if you're a young designer, if you want to hear more about the balancing games, I know that we get so many questions about that in our show notes every single month and year. So I will do a whole seminar about that. So join my YouTube channel on Monday. So this was happening.
Very
basically
cool.
Super exhausted, super tired, but rather happy, both with of course financial result, but also with the whole mood for the campaign very positive. Once again, shout out to everybody.
Finally, a happy day in Poland. That's very nice.
Yeah.
One of our listeners or watchers in this case from the YouTube channel can go over there and they can go on here and they can zoom in past Ignacy's face
My notes,
and go
yes.
look at the notes, and you'll get a preview of what he's going to talk about at Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern time. Because I can see back there. I can't zoom in right now, but one of you guys can do that. Zoom in and go check out all his notes back there. It'll be pretty funny, I bet. So over here at the Podfather of Gaming, one of the things I'd like to bring out, I've talked about it a lot, of course, is coming over and joining the Facebook group now, the Podfather of Gaming group, because we just got a lot of funny things that we're posting up there, and some of it comes out of the happy hours, of course. But if you join the group, you'll see a lot of this just fun nonsense that we're doing over there. And then, of course, I really want you guys, some people out there have been doing it. We've been getting more and more newbies joining the happy hour. So we constantly get a stream of about 15 to 20 or so people that have been come to every happy hour, with the Europeans coming more on the Sundays at 4 p.m. Eastern, and overall lots of people coming Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern to happy hour with the Podfather. You can get the link to that by liking the page, the Podfather of Gaming, and then look at the events, and you can get that. Again, we keep getting new people, so don't be afraid. Just come, and it's just a lot about hanging out, having fun, talking about what's on our mind, talk about what we're drinking, and things like that. So just come over, hang out for 1 hour, and I think you'll enjoy it. What else we have going on here? So I started, because, I got my first COVID shot. So excited about that. In 2.5 weeks, fully vaccinated. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to start planning my trips. I haven't planned the Gen Con trip yet. I'm sorry, I'm going to do this. I haven't planned the Gen Con trip yet because they're, still, they don't have the hotels up yet and the Origins. So I haven't gotten that yet before I'm going to start really planning those. But like, hey, now I can do some stuff. So my buddy Corey out in Napa Valley invited me to come out and drink some great wine there in Napa Valley. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to plan this trip for the end of April. I'll be fully vaccinated. End of April, beginning of May. It's going to be so good. And then we realized that Paula and I are doing this whole huge remodeling thing in our house. And that's starting at the end of April. So we have to do all of this stuff to prepare for that. You got to pick out door handles and kitchen knobs and things. And it's oh no, not to mention I have to pack basically the entire downstairs of my house. I don't know why I agreed to do this, other than in the end, it's going to look amazing, but I want to go travel. Why couldn't I have done this 6 months ago when I couldn't do any traveling? So yeah, that's a first world problem. I know that's a hashtag first world problem.
I love when bad things finally happen to you, because you're too happy on a regular basis. So yes, keep going. This is very interesting stuff.
So you're excited by the fact that I've now got to work at getting everything ready to start doing the remodeling. We're probably actually going to leave here for a few days while they do demolition down here and put the flooring down, because they've got to destroy so much stuff to start the whole project, which is so interesting. I mean, because it's really doing the flooring, doing the kitchen, doing the bathroom. We're actually putting a bar in, a built-in bar. Me, I love bars. So it's a big to-do that we're going to be doing. So we've got to work on that. I will definitely be posting pictures of that, on my Facebook page and in the Podfather Gaming group page as well, so people can follow in. That won't be for several weeks when it actually starts. But between now and then, I got a lot of work to do. I don't like doing work, Ignacy, but I got a lot of work to do.
This is the best segment you did for the past few weeks, really.
I can't stand you. All right, enough. We're going right to the event deck. So the first thing we have to report on is sort of bad news on the convention front, sort of. But it was, this is sort of on, kind of an expected thing, that the Spielwarenmesse, which is known as the Nuremberg Toy Fair to English speakers, which is always held in February, was postponed, was canceled last year completely. It was postponed this year to be a summer event, and now they've sadly canceled that, and that's due to prolonged pandemic hampering the whole thing. And then they're going to relaunch though in 2022 with a strong digital offering. So, but I'm sure that I'm pretty hopeful by 2022 February they will do it back in person. Now, Ignacy, have you been to the Nuremberg Toy Fair in the past?
Yes, every year.
You do, and you personally go every year?
Most of the times, yes. There were a few years when I sent only my employees, but most times I go.
Right, and this is sort of, and I'll use this in big air quotes, sort of the like the New York Toy Fair for Europe, a bit like Gamma, but on a much bigger scale because it's so many like toy vendors as well. So it's sort of like the New York Toy Fair. So it's not truly hobby games, but hobby games are certainly represented there. So I never have been here, but it's a very important event for the greater portion of of toys and games. So it is a very big event. Board Game Geek always sends Eric Martin to go cover this. So it's sad that they have to cancel it again, but I guess on some level this is just par for the course, so to speak, for where we are right now. But hopefully they come back in a big way in 2022.
Yeah, that was one of the things that we report the news. Sometimes we understand them, sometimes we can explain them, sometimes I don't understand. I really didn't understand the postponing, delaying the fair to July, because it was on purpose in February, at the beginning of the year, when you sign the contracts, when you plan the whole upcoming year, when you build up your catalog for upcoming products, the whole toy industry, because mostly there was a toy industry fair, they were picking the items that will be sold during the Christmas. Yes, this is how they plan the whole year for the toy industry. And the same was for our industry when we were seeing the prototypes or samples of the games that will be released in Essen. So the February date was crucial. It has to be at the very beginning of the year so we can prepare for the upcoming months. Delaying it to July, I didn't understand it. But in July, it is too late to decide what you want to release in Essen. It is too late to decide what you want to sell during the Christmas. So yeah, it's bad that it is cancelled. But for instance, for my company, we have no interest to go in July. It's too late. Like for us, it was no interest to go there to sign deals. We already did it on Skype or Zooms in February, as always. So it was rather obvious, and I was really surprised that they tried to move it to a different date.
Most of the American hobby game publishers would only go there to take meetings, to go meet with designers, meet with other publishers for localizations, co-publications. That's why we never went, because we'd always use two other events. We'd use the Gathering of Friends, and we use Essen for those things, which happened to be about 6 months apart, which was perfect. But obviously with the emergence of the digital platforms that you can have these meetings and look at people and talk to people like this, I can see it becoming a lot of these events where it's not consumer, but a lot of these events where you can still have these meetings they're going to become less important. But it's still important for certain segments of the greater game industry. So next year, hopefully it does come back strong. And I think it will.
Yep.
Next article is I love this kind of stuff. So the New York Times, yes, the New York Times, the largest maybe paper in the world, or certainly one of the most famous, profiled Matt Leacock, the designer of Pandemic and all of the other pandemics that have come out after that, about his new climate change themed board game, which he's currently working on. So this is on March 25th. Alex Marshall of the New York Times profiled Matt Leacock and the game that he's currently designing, which I believe is called Daybreak. And, the name of his article was, his game made beating a pandemic fun. Can he do it again with climate change? So I just love the idea that, that the New York Times is picking up directly on things that we do. Now, of course, they're picking up on this because of the game name and what the game does, Pandemic, which we're all living through this game. But that's great, because putting that in this kind of news media, just brings this huge amount of attention to everything else that we do as an industry. So, congratulations again to Matt, who's just a wonderful human being. Love talking to him at the Gathering of Friends every year. And congratulations on getting your name out there again in the New York Times, and hopefully, having another hit game with Daybreak. I can't wait to see what he comes up with there.
Yep, and 2 weeks ago we discussed if Steven would be a good demo person for our hobby, and in a late night show, and of course we were making silly jokes. In a serious tone, Matt Leacock is smart. He has amazing titles in this catalog. He is a great person to help recognize our industry, our hobby. And his game Pandemic is amazing, and everybody can buy it and play it and understand and love it. So kudos that he was featured, and absolutely was the right person to promote our hobby, to talk about our hobby. So, yep, I like it.
Very, very good. So this is a kind of a quick one. This is that on ICV2, they interviewed Simone Elliott, who's now the head of Atomic Mass Studio, one of the Asmodee studios, but kind of more importantly, a female head of a studio. Great. And she is the head of the studio that is basically taking all of the miniature games away from, I don't mean that in a bad way, but they're transitioning all of the miniature games from Fantasy Flight over to Atomic Mass Studios. So that was a big thing we reported on about 6 months ago or so. And they've got this great interview with her, talking about how that's going and the challenges of doing that and how important, these games are. So I'm going to, without going into too much of what was discussed in the article, because it's a long interview, they go back and forth, but they really go through how this is happening, why this is happening, how long that pipeline is that they're going out and they're doing games. They're looking at, from concept to street date of 2 years and things like that. So that's a fairly long time frame that they use, which makes sense for a company like that, which has to do all kinds of work in molds and getting these games prepared. So Ignacy, I don't know if you looked at this article at all, but I found a lot of this fascinating. Check it out.
Yes. When we were reporting about the whole changes in this FFG segment, I discussed with my team, with my people who play these games, and I was asking them what happened and what's the future, and who the hell is this whole Atomic company? And they explained me that it was already somehow rumored that people on the forums were complaining on some of the balance issues in the latest releases of the expansion FFG, and this new company, the Atomic, is created from the veterans of the miniature industry. So people who work in different other companies and started a new company, and they have a ton of respect among the board gamers, but this one who love miniature games. So overall, the feedback I got from my team was that it's a great change. And even though many people were complaining, oh my God, FFG is losing the games, oh my God, who's the new company? No. This new company knows how to do a great miniature games. So yes, I haven't read this article yet, but what I know is that these games are in a good hands right now.
Absolutely agree with that. And I wish Simone and her entire team at Atomic Mass all the best. I don't think I've met Simone in the past, but she sounds like she is completely on top of things there. So very excited to see that they're moving forward in a very big way at Atomic Mass Games. It's really, really good. So here's a crossover kind of thing. That Funko, which is known, they do make some board games. They got into that a couple years ago. But what they're known for are those little chibi head characters that they put out for like every IP. And what they're doing now is that they're diving into the NFT market. Do you even know what an NFT is, Ignacy?
I see the article, but I have no interaction with this whatsoever.
So, so this is a big thing that like literally came up within the last few weeks on Wall Street. In an NFT means non-fungible token, and some people didn't even know what the word fungible meant.
Like me?
Fungible, like, well, yeah, but it's such a weird. Most English speakers would not use or know what fungible means. It's a business term, and it's where we use them. Fungible means interchangeable. Okay, interchangeable. If I say you and me, we're fungible resources because we could both do certain things, right? But you and me are not fungible resources on designing games. I don't design games. You design games. So a non-fungible token, in this case, an NFT, refers to something that is digital that only you can own. Okay, so like with digital music most of the time, or digital artwork, it's a JPEG or an MP3, and anybody can have it in their collection. Whether it's legal or not to have it's another story, but you can have it, right? You can transfer it around. A non-fungible token means that you have the full and unfettered complete access. You own this thing because you have the token that says that you own this thing, and it can't be duplicated around to anybody else. Recently, on auction at Christie's, an artist known as Beeple, which, by the way, has nothing to do with meeples as far as I know. I don't think he's gamer at all. It's just what his like name is, but his moniker is for the internet. Beeple. His name is Mike Winkelmann. He sold a non-fungible token piece of art for $69,346,250 US. That's insane. That's just an insane amount of money. And now Funko is getting into this in some way, and I truly don't understand what's happening. But let me read, and I don't. I mean, I barely understand the non-fungible token market to begin with.
Insider delivering you honest reporting.
I'm going to be honest with everybody. I'm not going to say like, oh, I know all about this stuff. Well, I understand that it's happening now, but I don't understand like how would a company that is into chibi heads and board games is now going to be getting into NFTs. But let me read a little bit. It says Funko purchased the stake in Tokenhead, which is the name of the company that's doing these things, as a major move into the NFT market for the maker of pop culture products. Their plan is to use the NFT platform to extend their pop culture collectible line into digital assets. So they say, quote, our strategy is in this space is clear. Bring the value-added NFT opportunity to our licensing partners to leverage our broad range of existing pop culture content across television, movies, sports, music, anime, video games, and comic books, said Funko CEO Brian Mariotti. He said of the deal, the marriage of digital and physical using Wax's patented NFT technology known as VIRLs is powerful. Our ability to combine Funko Pop digital NFTs with exclusive Funko Pop vinyl figures has the potential to be a game changer. By backing the rarest of Funko's NFTs with exclusive, redeemable Funko Pops, we are poised to enter the NFT market in a very unique manner. Funko projects that their first NFT offerings will start releasing in June with a unique property launched each week. Products will have a starting price of $9.99, so very cheap, and be sold on this platform called Wax, a decentralized wallet on the blockchain. This does not tell me at all what they're going to be doing, other than they're going to marry like a physical product with an NFT. So does that mean they're going to create just unique physical products that therefore have like a thing saying this is mine and only?
Dear listeners, one of the co-hosts is old and the other one doesn't speak English. We have no way to explain what's happening. That's our honest statement.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to leverage.
I believe, as far as I understand, and sorry for confusion if I'm understanding it wrong, is that they are going to sell these figures, these dolls, as virtual ones, and you can buy this doll, and it is your doll somehow with this virtual thing, and you can collect them like you would collect the physical ones, and you can have a collection of them in some virtual way. But Steven is very old. I'm getting old every day, so it's not for us.
I'm going to agree with you. I think that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to create virtual digital assets, pictures of dolls,
collect, right?
and they're going to do, well, of dolls or other art, I guess, and they're going to license them, with Marvel, with Star Wars, and all the things they have their licensing with, create all of these NFTs, and you'll be able to own it, and you'll be the only one owning this thing, starting at $9.99. Not bad. So if you want to be the only person having, I don't know, Wolverine in a certain chibi pose, I guess you can do that. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with this, even though I barely understand it. But I admit that I barely understand it, unlike, a lot of people out there that I'm sure think they understand it. All right. Enough bragging or non-bragging. Let's get to strategy and tactics. All right, Ignacy, here in Strategy and Tactics, let's take these questions from our audience there on Board Game Geek.
Questions. I read them before. These are very old questions.
There are some odd ones here. I know. I didn't get a lot of them out, so we're going to have to go dig deeper next time. But that's fine. We should take odd ones and normal ones.
I didn't say odd. I said old.
Old questions.
Old.
I think they're old, odd questions. How's that?
Okay, you will see.
Zach Rush, who's at Slidzero, he asks, if someone is a new publisher in the US looking for their first game, what are the pros and cons of finding an overseas game to license in the US? And what are the pros and cons of finding a new game and being the first to publish it? So he's asking, co-publishing, localizations versus just developing a game from scratch. You want to take that first? I mean, we both definitely have perspectives on this.
Yeah, we for years we were discussing this. We run different models, me and Steven, and I was in this business of designing the game from the scratch and then having worldwide rights for this game. It is a ton of work. It needs a ton of talent, a ton of resources when you have to develop the game, to produce the game, illustrations, all that jazz. But then you have the whole rights for the game. And if I want to make it as an e-game, if I want to sell it to Asmodee, if I want to sell it to China, I have this my game. While Steven can explain how Stronghold games worked, but you get only a piece of the license, right?
For the most part, right? Most of the games that Stronghold Games published, we were co-publishing. We localized the game into English and had either worldwide English rights or we had North American English rights, something like that. So if the question is, as a new publisher, what's the pros and cons? I'll talk about like the path of least resistance. The easiest way is to localize, is to find a game that you have that you believe is going to could be really big if you got it and brought it to the US and used your marketing ability to get it out there. That's the easiest way because most of the work has been done for you. It's much harder to find a brand new design and take it from the bottom up, which Ignacy did very successfully for many, many, many years. But then he also did localizations, right? He works with other companies to bring them to the Polish market. I'm gonna say that in any case, regardless, Zach, of what you want to do right now, you're gonna have a very hard time being a new publisher, and we've said this in the past. It's not because Ignacy, really in this case, I don't publish anymore. It's not like we don't want the competition. We're telling you that if you're an unknown person, company, entity, to now start from scratch, you're going to have a lot of problems getting over all of the other noise out there. To get into the industry now, I would not do it as a publisher if I was ever going to do it. There's a lot of other things you can do in the industry, I think, but I would not try to start a new publishing house unless you really had a name and some product to jump into the industry and make a splash. You kind of agree with that, Ignacy? That last statement there?
Yes. I always say there is so many jobs that you can take in the industry and be part of the industry without risking your money. So if you really don't need to be entrepreneur, if you don't need to run the company, just get hired by the other company and have a great job opportunity and great career, but without risking the whole money that you need to put into the company.
There you go. So I guess this is one of your old questions that you were talking about. Daniel Cheston, who's at Cheston D on Board Game Geek, he says, first of all, Steve, I'd like to apologize for that question. I asked you in your interview with BJ on Board Game Gumbo. I didn't intend to get you in trouble, but thank you for the invaluable intel. See, that question that he asked that then BJ pushed me, and I was such a nice person because I love BJ Rojas. He's so awesome. He asked me, will there be a Terraforming Mars Legacy? And well, I answered it, and I'm not answering it again because I can't get in trouble now, I guess. But if you want to go listen to Board Game Gumbo and listen to how I answered that question, because it got me in a boatload of trouble. And his actual question is about Terraforming Mars and the upcoming Turmoil expansion, which obviously has now been out for 2 years almost. Would it be possible to include a sturdy game box and fit all the expansions? Well, yeah, that's what we did, right? And then we did that at the end just last year, right before retirement. We did Terraforming Mars Big Box, which not only includes a storage solution for everything, but also all the terrain pieces and a little bit more content. That is coming out soon, and that was sort of my magnum opus. That was my final hurrah. I was very happy to get that done, and I believe we're delivering. We should have been delivering now, but of course, with the many delays, I believe that's delivering in June. So coming soon to a Kickstarter backer and then retail stores near you. Isaac Freebarn, looks like he's got a lot of E's in that. Freebarn, who's L Freebarn on Board Game Geek. Regrets or triumphs? That's the title of his question. He has a title for his question. Are there any specific games that either of you can mention that you had a chance to publish, but you passed on and now regret? What caused you to pass on the game? Ignacy, I think you've answered this question in the past. Do you want to bring that up again? Is there something that you actually passed on that, darn, wish I had that, wish I would have done that game?
Yes, we discussed this a couple of episodes ago. I recorded the whole video about the top 10 games I passed, and it was a bad idea. I had a chance to release in Poland King of Tokyo, and I passed on that because I had a chance to release Everdell in Poland. I passed on that as well. I had a chance to release Twilight Struggle in Poland, and I passed on that. We publishers sometimes make mistakes. This part of the fun is a part of the work. Sometimes we find a gem, and sometimes we see a holy grail and we don't see it and we miss it. Of course, it's a topic for many anecdotes about me and Portal Games. Fans love it when I explain the circumstances of these missed opportunities. I cannot complain. We publish many great games, and these other games left out in different publishing houses, and they are happy. Clank, for example, I had a Clank on my table, and I said no. So yes, a couple of mistakes I did.
Which one was that one? That last
one?
Clank. That's right. Oh, that would have been great.
I should know better.
So so it's funny. I don't believe that I actually passed on a game that became a big hit. I don't think I did, but I missed getting games that I really wanted to get that became pretty big hits. Like I went, I quickly became a fan of the Roll and Rights, and I missed on getting the Quacks of Quellenberg, which was his first big game. Why am I all of a sudden having a brain fart? Wolfgang Warsch. Oh, all of a sudden I just forgot for a moment. So, and I and he did the mind. I'm like, oh, I got to get rights to the mind. Oh, this is great. I missed on it. Oh, Quacks, I want to get the big games. I'm known for big games. I couldn't get that. But then I end up getting all of the other roll-in rights. So out of that miss, I ended up getting all of his other roll-in rights and doing all of those and other roll-in rights that came out of Schmidt-Spiele. So I ended up getting a great relationship with Schmidt-Spiele on those. Don't remember anything else. I thought I had another one in my head that I would have wanted to get, but that'll come to me at some other time. He also asks, what games did you almost decide not to publish, and are now relieved that you did?
For us, for Portal Games in Poland, I was be with me. I was against publishing Zombicide in Poland, but I was smart enough to trust my team, and my team told me, Ignacy, you are a moron. We need Polish edition of Zombicide. We are doing it, and they outvoted me. And we did a vote in the company. I was against, and Zombicide is now one of the biggest hits for the company. It sells like crazy in Poland. It's super popular. So I was about to make a mistake. But Portal Games is a team. I always say I have amazing people here working with me. And so this time they saved the company from the catastrophe of me refusing the Zombicide.
I think Kanban is a game that it was so big and so complex, and it's a Euro game, and it's a long Euro game. And I'm like, do I really want, I mean, and you know, we had done a lot of Euro games, but I was like, do I want to put a game? How am I going to demo this game? It's like, you know, you have to have this very canned demo to do it. You have to have Vitaler sit there and teach the game. So I literally had him in Essen. He was on one table. Paul Inkeo was teaching it because he knows the game cold too. So I was like, this game is genius. I want to do this game, but should I do this game? So that was sort of in that, like, and I ended up doing it because I just said, this is genius. There'll be a market for this game. And then the final portion is, what games in your catalog caused you the greatest challenge to get to the market due to production issues or the complexity? And how did you overcome any of these challenges? Is there anything like that you can think of that caused you just a great challenge to end up bringing into the market?
You know, of course, for my games, it is always a challenge. Like each game is a home story. On each game, I work most times for 1 year. So this is always challenging for the games that I license for the Polish market. When I look at our catalog, and I don't think so. Like every single game is a story. Every single game have something unique. So I'm not. I don't have any particular title right now for this extreme challenge. Always something challenging. Every single license.
Yeah, and with me, at any time that the plastics are involved, it's always the biggest challenge. You take so much lead time. It's such a long process. So, you know, doing Space Cadets away missions was a big challenge, and that's one of my favorite games in my catalog because of that production, because it's so beautiful looking. I was like, challenge myself to become like the next Fantasy Flight with that game, just to make 100 plastic miniatures and make them beautiful. And we also sold painted sets of them as well. So that was one of my favorite projects, and it was definitely a huge challenge to do. But the great part of that story is that Ludofact Germany, who we worked with very closely on that, Frank Yeager loved old school sci-fi and so was into doing it that he went through every little bit of that game with us. So it was wonderful to do that with him. All right, that's all for the questions for the week. Let's get over to our play testing segment.
How's my grammar today?
I changed just like one word. You're good.
B minus.
I'll give you an A minus. It was perfect.
Oh.
It was almost perfect.
That was very short.
Actually, I just changed fave to favorite. I think that's all I did. It was perfect.
Okay. So my question today for all of you and my friend Steven is, do you have a favorite movie quote that you use often? So today we are not about board games, we are about being geeks and nerds, and we talk movies. What's your favorite quote from the movie?
It's a trap from Star Wars. You can't handle the truth from A Few Good Men. I do not think that means what you think it means. from Princess Bride. I'll be back. Terminator. I mean, I use movie quotes like all the time. I'm just always spouting something from some movie. It's only a flesh wound. You know, I just go with anything that comes into my head for any given time. Let's not argue about whom killed who. Monty Python stuff, right? So yeah, I just use every geek reference from anything that I can think of in any particular time. So favorite, no, all of them. Anything that comes into my head, I just keep going and going and going, and I probably can keep going if I just have a little bit of poke at myself. Ignacy, anything that you use a lot?
The one that I use the most, and sometimes I start the quote and Steven finishes for me, is a wizard is never late.
That's right. And Ignacy is always late when we do this podcast. I'm always waiting for him, and all of a sudden he finally joined. Oh, thank you, Ignacy, for joining me.
The wizard is never late.
And Ignacy, I agree. You are truly a wizard. You really are. So we're gonna ask you this question. Do you have a favorite movie quote that you use often in your lives while you're gaming, whatever the case may be? Ignacy right now is creating a thread on Board Game Geek.
And give us this quote.
Of course. You got to give it. You can't just answer yes or no. That's kind of silly now, right? So please go over to our guild on Board Game Geek and find the thread that says playtesting episode 190 and answer our question to you. Give us that quote and tell us about why you use it or where you use it. Hey, last night I said it's a trap last night because I was playing Pathfinder and we walked into it, and I don't think it was a trap, but I knew I was like, it was like a door that we found the door. I'm like, it's a trap. And no, it was not a trap. All right, guys, we'll get over to final scoring now. Thank you so much for listening. Help us spread the word about this podcast by telling your friends to download Board Games Insider wherever they like to get their podcasts. To ask us questions for our strategy and tactics segment, you must post them in the correct thread in our guild on Board Game Geek, and please do. To answer our question to you from our playtesting segment, please go to our guild on Board Game Geek and look for the thread with this episode's question. Board Games Insider has a Facebook page, so please like us on Facebook. Also on Facebook, please like Ignacy's page and Steven's page, /Portal Publishing and /Podfather Gaming. Our websites are portalgames.com, portalgamesus.com, and podfathergaming.com. Please go there, sign up for our newsletters, and get up-to-the-minute information on what's happening at Portal Games and with the Podfather. On social media, you can speak directly to Ignacy and Steven. On Twitter, it's at portalgamesus and at Podfather Gaming. On Instagram, it's the same. And on YouTube, very active YouTube channels. Please go check them out. Portal Games Movies, Portal Games Gameplays, and the Podfather of Gaming. And you can watch us, and you can see me talking and looking at Ignacy in the eye when I make fun of him. Go over there. Subscribe to those channels, please. We hope to see you soon at a convention. The world is starting to open up again. Can't wait. Board Games Insider was professionally edited by Matthew Jude from This Game is Broken podcast. And if you'd like him to edit your podcast, please contact him on Twitter or email at thisgameisbrokenpodcast@gmail.com. Ignacy, anything new? Do you want to tell me about something?
I have a question to our listeners. What's up with the Golden Geek Awards? Like, they should be already announced, like nominations. We were supposed to win this award this year, and suddenly there's no nominations. I want to win an award. Is it possible?
So everyone should write to Aldi at boardgamegeek.com. No, don't do that. and say, when are these awards coming? And can I please get Board Games Insider nominated and win? Because Aldi loves both of us. I mean, he does. I mean, we go out to dinner. He loves me and Ignacy. So no, we're not going to cheat, but we are going to ask you to vote for us. So, all right. I think that's it for today. We're being silly as usual. Everybody,
thank you.
Be well, and we'll see you in a week. Bye-bye.